All right, welcome back. In this segment, I want to cover some of the new features in this release 8.1, which we have called Oh Sassy, and we can see the features right here on the website. And let's have a look at some of the most memorable new capabilities and new features of 8.1. So we have the quicker color picker that you get by pressing the spacebar, and now there's a quick media bin where you can store a couple of medias for rapidly switching back and forth between different brushes essentially. So let's have a look at what that looks like. Essentially, when let's say you've been painting and you've got your color picker here, and you've got lots of other color choices, lots of different color picker mechanisms here. But you can also perhaps want to pick the colors from what you already have in your screen here, right? So you go here, and what you do is you simply hit the space bar, and as you hit the space bar right here, you see the color picker show up, right? So that's a little bit different from simply the turkey baster when you press the comma. The comma will go and switch over to letting you pick a color and then let go, and that's actually a slightly new behavior too, because when in the past, if you were to press and hold it and then let go, it would go back. But we want you to have a chance now to pick that color, and so even when we let go of the comma, it's a toggle that waits for you to pick the color. When you click this orange, for instance, here, it will pick that up, and then you can paint with that same orange. All right, so that's the comma based selection, and there is the space bar which shows up a quick color picker, and that one, when you let go, it goes away. But the most important new feature there is that you can also see some shortcuts of brushes here at the bottom. These are the media shortcuts. So there's 4, and basically what that allows you to do is to quickly pick that brush and select some of the media that you had there. So you kind of have like some shortcuts there for the most important brushes you'd like to use again and again, and that will hopefully speed up. You don't have to go to the media browser and select the different category where you had that brush. You can, if you work with 3 or 4 brushes a lot, you can basically stay with those brushes very easily, right? So for instance, you can go here and right click to replace any of these entries with the current. So you right click, and it now puts that brush that I had just picked from the media browser, it puts that in the quick color picker. So I can still go and left click, and I can click here in this one and pick that again. So that's how you can work with the quick color picker to very quickly use your favorite brushes. The next feature here I will only describe very briefly because I'm not currently using my tablet here, but I wanted to show still for those of you who have a tablet where that is. You can alter the pressure for your comfort level. So that is, change how the tablet pressure is used, and you see that right here in the context bar here. You'll see a new option, this little icon here, tablet options, and when you click that, you'll see the tablet. So right now here it's not seeing any pressure because I'm using my mouse, but when you're using the tablet, and we'll do another little demo on that, you'll be able to customize and to dynamically readjust the pressure sensitivity, and that's a really great feature. So you don't have to, it spares you the time to the control panel if you have an interface over there to to adjust the tablet pressure. So it allows you to do that right inside the application. Moving further down here, we have now this option here. This one is the toolbar. Now, so the toolbar operates like a sidebar instead of a floating panel. Now, you can still have it floating if you prefer the old way, the way that we've had it in the past. Let's go and check that out quickly. You see the toolbar right now here is on the left side. It's a sidebar. Let me clear this image so it's a little bit easier to see. Let's make sure we use the hot dog brush. So over here we have a toolbar that's tacked to the side, and you can actually go now to the window and layout, and you'll see a few new options: toolbar to the left or toolbar to the right. And when it's on the right, but you also have the sidebar over here on the right as well, what happens is that they both are showing up there. So you can move the toolbar to the right, and now you have basically everything here on the right side all together, and it's stuck there. So if you move the window, if you resize your window, if you move it around, readjust that, everything stays nicely together. There's still some area down here that is not currently used by icons, and you can still also, if you prefer to float it, you can go and do that. You can float the toolbar, and so that looks perhaps more familiar. You can have a single, or you can have a dual two-column toolbar, like so. And of course, you can also move this context bar, this sidebar to the other side. And there's a couple of other options here. You can, in fact, you can unfloat it. You can say set the toolbar to the left, but keep it in two-column mode. So right now, that's what I have here. I have two columns, and yet it's in two bars. And this is really something that we've kept that way for users on netbooks or on computers where perhaps you don't have a very high resolution. So if you're only able to display it at, let's say, 1024 by 768, or even lower resolution for any reason, which is really uncommon, but it may still be the case in some cases. So what you could do then is to arrange it in such a way that you have the two columns, and you don't need to go all the way down and see some of the icons missing. Alright, now here's the next feature, the layers panel that is now sizable on the sidebar. So let's see what that means. Essentially, when you see these parts, this is the sidebar here, right? And when you see the items in the sidebar, usually initially they might be open, right? And you see all of these. Usually there's a little a separator, like here the previews. When you click on that, it minimizes it. Right? And then you see the little plus sign here to reopen it if you'd like that. You can minimize all of those. And you might spend a lot of time doing that if you need to see all of your layers. Now here you have only one layer. I'm just going to add a few more here. And that becomes now a scrollable list. So you can actually go and see all of those, or you can resize it, grab it right here, and then minimize the amount of space that's actually seen by that. You can also, of course, close the whole layer portion. There's a lot of other things you can do with that sidebar, and I would certainly encourage you to really take the time to explore each and every one of these options, because you can go and adjust some of the, like for instance here, the color saturation, or on these here too, usually a little scroll bar, and so on. But anyway, so that's a new feature here on the size, the fact that you can resize the layers portion on this on the sidebar. Okay, and here's one more for this segment. This one is the new noise removal tool. So now what's really interesting with this one here is that you may have pictures perhaps from a digital camera that were taken under low lighting conditions, and as you may know, especially if you have high sensitivity ASA settings, it may be quite grainy and show a lot of noise. There may be other types of noises, other types of noise in that picture. And essentially what this filter will attempt to let you do is to fix that, and I want to demonstrate that in an example. You see here some of the items in the menu, for the filter menu for noise, and some of these you may be familiar with, color noise, and essentially it will create a noise pattern, right? And then so here's another example. I've loaded a gradient that I created, just something like this here, with the color gradient. And so let's say I use this gradient, and then I apply noise to that, and so I'm basically simulating some of these, like the jitter noise here, to create a jittery pattern there, right? And as you zoom in, you can see there's a lot of noise in there. All right, so that's one example here of a noisy picture. Another one is here, this one here. Actually, this one I'll use for the example. What I did for that one is I started from this. I took, basically simulating like I'm taking a picture in dark conditions. What you end up having here is a lot of noise, right? And we'd like to see if we can fix some of that. Get rid of that granularity there, right? So that's what we're trying to do. And so let's have a look at how to do that. We basically take this filter in the same category, the noise, but instead of creating the noise, we'll now try to remove it. So this is the new filter called noise removal. And with the noise removal, you can start by default, I think, at 25 iterations. I'm going to go all the way up to the 50 here. Threshold, I think, by default is 32. I set it down to 8, a little bit lower. And the default is threshold box filter. I'm going to go to the new median mode. That's the new feature. That's a really great, exciting new feature. And I'll check what's going on here. It's going to restore that picture. Takes a little while. I'm in an 8-core processor here, the i7, and look at that beauty. So now it's not absolutely perfect, but considering the damage there was in that initial picture, this is close to perfect. And so that's what's new, or some of the things that are new in version 8.1.